Happy New Year, happy 2020, my great friends. Hope the new year has gotten off to a great start. As you know, this was kind of a 5-part series, all dedicated to having more personal clarity. And as I said in video 1, which we'll rehash here because good messages can be heard again, personal clarity arises from being able to answer 4 questions. The first question is, who am I? The second question is, what am I here for? Which these 5 videos were really laser beam focused in on, what am I here for? The third question you must answer in your life, what matters the most? And the fourth question, what matters the least? So to rehash it, in video 1, I introduced you to a philosophy to live by. You and I, we're all here at our office. We call it being the best version of yourself. The Greeks call it arete. Abraham Maslow called it self-actualized. But you and I, what we're really here for is to become the best version of ourselves. And in that quest, that's when we'll find out kind of the life of what we're here for. For me, it's to leave everyone I meet better off. It's my life philosophy. It's also my career. In the next video, I introduced you to the idea of the oxygen mask. That to be the best version of yourself physically, you have to take care of yourself. Can't believe that's such a thing in this country. Emotionally, we're here for one emotion, and one emotion only, to love. To love. You get squeezed, you love. People are challenging, you love. Doesn't matter. We learned in the oxygen mask that we have to have intellectual health. A lot of people out there have very wounded self-esteems. How do you heal that? By taking care of yourself intellectually, reading good books, listening to good lectures, listening to good podcasts, and turning off, wasting time with the Kardashians, and turning off the not real housewives of whatever community it's in, or excessive sports, because it's all just a distraction. We've got to put our oxygen mask on, physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, because part of why we're here really is to serve and serve powerfully. And then in part 3, I encouraged you to write your own eulogy. If you have not watched part 3, go back and watch it. Write your own eulogy. What will you be remembered for? Because you write that out, you have 10 characteristics in there, and then all you have to do is act as if. And as I mentioned in the eulogy, nobody at the end of their life wants to be known as a fall-down drunk, somebody who takes shots every weekend warriors. No one ever wants to be known as that, and yet so many people find themselves there. And now, in video 4, we're going to do something called the priority list. It's one of the most simple things you could ever do. It'll be a great thing to kick off 2024, and it is absolutely something critical to be the best version of yourself. Because a journey towards the best version of you, it's a journey away from something else. Anytime you take a journey towards something, even a trip or a vacation to the grocery store, it's always a journey away from something else. So you do this priority list so that you know what you need to journey away from. Let me explain. This is my very own priority list here. Okay? Number 1 on the list is God. God's my center. Doesn't have to be your center, but for me, God is my center. The second most important priority to me is my own personal health. And I know some people think, oh my gosh, that sounds kind of selfish. No, it's not. A naked man cannot give someone a jacket off of his back because he's naked. And I can't give someone love, I can't serve someone if my own health is not taken care of. That kind of goes back to that oxygen mask philosophy. So my own health takes a massive priority each day. The third priority on my list, it's my family. My daughter who's back behind the camera, my mom, my dad, my siblings, my wife, My family, hugely important to me. In fact, so many people say that one's important, and it's not their reality. The family gets 10 minutes in the beginning of the day, and then maybe 30 minutes at the end of the day, exhausted. At the end of the day, everybody's on their phones. It can't be that way. Fourth most important priority on my list is my career, okay? Many unhappy people out there. Let's just face the facts. I could go on a whole 1-hour tangent on this one. A lot of people who are in the viewing audience, they made their career decision when they were in middle school or high school. And then these people get into these careers, a lot of times with a lot of college debt, and then they're kind of like seemingly trapped. It's really a system that needs to be disrupted. My career, my purpose, my best self, they're all in alignment. And it's a really happy place. And if you're not there, you need to really strategize in 2020 about getting there. I don't have work-life balance. I think it's a garbage term. I love my life. I love my priorities. And I work with an organization called Floyd Consulting, which stands for Finally Living Out Your Dreams, and I love it. I mean, I go to work and it feels like Christmas. And I know that sounds foreign to a lot of people. But don't you think that's the way God really wanted it? He wants you to love your personal life and love your professional life. So I have no balance. The fifth most important one, and I wish I had learned this earlier in life, but I didn't. It's adventure. I love adventure. And I love travel. Travel, adventure, kind of all into one. Family loves taking cruises, loves seeing new places, love learning new perspectives. And then the last one, look, it is important. It is a part of our everyday lives, but it is on the bottom of my list. And that's finances, because finances do matter. Now that you see the priority list, okay? So these are my priorities. I actually keep them. I keep a list at work. I keep a list at home. I check in with them at least 4 or 5 times a month. And I ask myself, are my priorities really my priorities? What I mean by that, is that actually how I spend my time? Is it actually how I spend my time? My top 6 priorities: God, health, family, career, purpose, adventure, travel, finances. Is there time for that every day? And then I ask my people after I have them do priority lists, I say, would you like to have more time for your priorities? I'm going to tell you something crazy. I wouldn't like to have more time for my priorities because they're all balanced appropriately. And why? Because back in the day when I did first set up my list, I did want to have time for them. And that allowed me to enter in a really great thing that I encourage you to do. Would you like to have more times for your priorities? What can you subtract? I've never had somebody tell me one of their top priorities is 10 hours a week on Facebook, 20 hours a week on Instagram. I want to go to the bar on Friday after a week of crappy work and be a fall down drunk. Never had anybody tell me they want to be a drug addict. Never had anybody tell me pornography is one of my priorities. But this is how people drift. So you clearly define your priorities. They teach you how to say no. They allow you to get real with how you spend your time. They allow you to get real with what you need to subtract. A journey towards your best self is a journey away from something else. So if it's not on my list, I subtract it. I journey away from it. Heard a great story about Richard Branson at one time. They were trying to get him to do a cover shoot for Success magazine. They offered him all the money in the world. And he said no. And finally, the editor of Success says, if we wrote you a blank check, would you do it? And Branson said no. Because if you have in his mind more than 3 priorities, and he was mainly talking about business, he said you don't have any priorities. So if you think you can have more than 6 priorities, 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, you have no priorities. Oprah Winfrey said the greatest skill she ever learned was learning to say no. So if it doesn't help you be your best self, say no. If it takes away from your priority list, say no. And in 2020, you will get out of the porta potty and you will lead your best life.
Having a priority list is so important. I use it to make all of my decisions. Number 1 on my priority list is getting my education. Number 2 is my family. Number 3 is my health. Number 4 is God. And number 5 is my pets. And you know what number 6 is? Number 6 is you and this channel, making a difference, spreading positive messages all the time. It feels truly amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, and share.